Okay, so now what we're going to do is talk about coin and value problems. And again, a chart is a really good way to solve these problems. So let's go ahead and we're going to do this video in two parts, 3 questions per part. So first one, Bill ordered some pizzas. These are actually pretty long to write. Some small and some medium. Pizzas for a party. So a lot of times there's just some background information. The small ones cost $3.75 each, and the medians cost $5 each. He bought 3 more medium than small pizzas. The total cost was $32.50. How many pizzas of each size did he order? Because we have 2 different kinds of pizzas, and because we're going to use a formula to help us get our answers, chart is a really good way to keep things organized. So we're going to have small, medium, and we're going to add a different title here, total. And then we're going to talk about quantity, so how many, the cost of 1, and total cost. So we have small pizzas and we have medium pizzas. The small one costs $3.75 for a total cost of 3.75 S. And the mediums cost $5 for a total of 5M. And it says that the total cost was $32.50. So because we have 2 variables, we're going to have 2 equations. And what we're going to look at is there's an equation right there for us to write. So the total cost for the small pizzas plus the total cost for the medium pizzas equals the total cost. Now, just to let you know, I tend not to like to deal with fractions, so I'm going to get rid of them, and I have to multiply by 100 to go around the 2 decimals, making this equation 375S plus 500M equals 3,250. Now, there was a second equation, or second sentence that talked about the small and medium pizzas, and that was this guy right here. He bought 3 more medium than small pizzas. So here's where it gets a little strange. How do you translate that? Well, the first of the unknowns that you see in the equation is the one that stands alone. So M for medium. Next, we're going to do math with the second guy that's mentioned. And we're told to do 3 more than, which is a switcher phrase. So we're going to get the small pizzas plus 3. So basically what we have here is substitution. Now here's the problem with using the letter S, is that sometimes it looks like the number 5, so be cautious with that. So our equation that we're going to solve is 375s plus 500 times the quantity s plus 3 equals 3,250. I'll move it over here, and I distribute, and I get 375s plus 500s plus 1,500 equals 3,250. Now we're going to go ahead and subtract 1,500 from both sides and combine up like terms. So I get 875s equals 0, 5, do a little renaming, 1750. Divide both sides by 875. And that actually goes exactly in 2 times. So that's one answer, and I'm going to end up putting my answer in a weird spot in just a moment. But I'm going to take that answer and plug it into the easier of the 2 equations to figure out how many mediums. So the number of mediums is the number of smalls plus 3. So I get a total of 5. So the answer looks to be 2 small pizzas and 3 medium pizzas. And you can always check by plugging it back into the equation about cost. And if you take 2 times 375, let's put it over here. 2 times 375, well, let's see, we're going to get 75 twice is $1.50, and then 3 twice is 6, so that's a total of $7.50. And then 3 times 5 is 15. Let's see, do I do that right? Oh, I wrote down the wrong number. It should be 5. Sorry about that. Oops. I solved it right, but I didn't write it correctly. So we had here that was 5 mediums. So 5 times 5 would give me $25 for a grand total of $32.50, which matches what we're supposed to get. Okay? All right, next problem. We've got Alan, so this is a wage problem. Alan earns $3.50 per hour. During the day, and $4 per hour at night. Last week, he worked 14 hours and earned $51. How many hours did he work during the day? All right, so we're going to use a different formula for this one, because how somebody makes money is the number of hours that they work times how much money they make per hour is how much money they make. So we have 2 different time frames for him. He works either during the day or night, so days and nights, and then we're going to add that total here. And we're going to have hours worked, so that's how many. So kind of like coin and value here. Then comes the wage per hour. And then we have the income or total made or whatever you want to write for that. So we're going to have D represent the amount of hours worked during the day and N represent the amount of hours worked at night. Now it says in the first sentence, he earns $3.50 per hour during the day. So a total income from days would be 3.5 D. And he makes $4 working at night, so total amount of money made for working at night is 4N. And then it says last week he worked 14 hours, so that's the total number of hours worked, and he earned $51, which is the total amount of money he earned. Now right there, we've got two equations with two variables. So that's what we need to solve our system. And the only alteration that needs to take place is in the second equation. There's a decimal, so I want to get rid of it. And all it's going to take is multiplying by 10 to move the decimal point over. So that gives me 35D plus 40N equals 51. Now, we have a couple options how we could do this problem. We could figure out how to multiply the green equation by, let's say, 40 would probably be, negative 40 would be easy, and then we could eliminate. We could solve the green equation for one of the variables and use substitution, but I think I'm going to go ahead and use multiplying the green equation by something to make a match. So let's go with the negative 40. Making my two equations negative 40D minus 40N equals negative, we get a 0, we get 16, we get a 5, so negative 560. And we're going to put that together with the 35D plus 40N equals 51. So when I add the two equations together, I get 5D equals, now I'm going to have to rewrite this a little bit more cleanly for me. Oh, you know what? I forgot to get something there. It should be 500. Oh, there's 510. So now that makes a little bit more sense. And we get negative 5D is equal to negative 50. Divide both sides by negative 5. And we get D equals positive 10. Now, the question asks for how many hours did he work during the day, and that's precisely what we just solved for. So the answer is 10 hours in the day. Okay, and that's that. And we could test it. If we plugged it into the green equation, we get 10 for the day, 4 for the night, and then we could calculate the amount of money. So for 3.5 or $3.50 for 10 hours, that's $35. And for 4 hours at $4 each, that's going to be 16. And we get 51. So that just proves we did it right. Okay, let's do one more on this, and then we'll end up stopping this tape and then creating a second part. So the third problem we're going to do deals with David and coins. So David has some nickels, dimes, and quarters. Worth $4.50. He has 3 times as many nickels. Than dimes. And 4 more quarters than dimes. How many of each kind of coin does he have? So we're going to create our chart, and I just list the things as they tell me. Nickels, dimes, quarters, and we'll add that total column. And we have quantity, so how many? We have value of 1. And we have total value. So I'm going to use N for nickels, D for dimes, Q for quarters. The value of a nickel, and this is probably the biggest mistake, it's 0.05, not 0.5. For dime is 0.10, for quarters 0.25. To get the total value of nickels, we just multiply the quantity times the value of 1, we get 0.05 N. For the dimes, we get 0.1 D. And for the quarters, we get 0.25 Q. And then at the end of that first sentence, it says that the money is worth $4.50. And then the next couple sentences, or the next sentence, talks about how to define the other types of coins in terms of dimes, as a matter of fact, in this one. So remember what you do. You look at the end of the phrase. That's the variable that you're going to do math with. You look at the beginning of that phrase. That's the variable that you're going to have standalone. So nickels are going to be by itself. And it says there's 3 times as many nickels than dimes. So we're going to take the dimes and multiply them by 3. Second equation, we look at the back, or second part of that sentence. Dimes is mentioned at the end, so they're the ones we're going to do math with. The guys that are mentioned in the front are quarters. So we're going to have quarters, Q equals, and then 4 more quarters than dimes. So dimes plus 4, because we have a switcher phrase. Now, we need another equation, and that other equation is going to come from the total value column. So we have 0.05N plus 0.1D plus 0.25Q equals 4.50. And so what I'm going to do is get rid of decimals by multiplying by 100. So basically we're going to change all of these from being in terms of dollars to being in terms of cents. So that gives us 5N plus 10D plus 25Q equals 450. And then I start substituting. For N, I replace it with 3D. D stays D, so I have plus 10D. And quarters becomes D plus 4. Alright, and then I just start doing math. So I have 15N plus, sorry, messed that up. I've messed up every single problem, haven't I? That's okay. It's all about learning. That's a D, which makes him a D. Let's try that again. 15D plus 10D plus 25D plus 100 equals 450. So I'm going to subtract 100 from both sides and continue the problem up here. So I combine 15 and 10 is 25, and 25 is 50. So I get 50D equals 350. Divide both sides by 50, excuse me. The extra zeros cancel. 35 divided by 5 is 7. So that's how many dimes we have. So for our answer, we write 7 dimes. Now, to figure out the number of nickels, we're just going to take those answers and plug them into the definitions. So for this guy, we're going to get the number of nickels equals 3 times the number of dimes, which was 7, for a total of 21. And we get 21 nickels, not pickles. Watch your spelling. And then we're going to plug into the second equation. And we get quarters is equal to 10 plus 4, or 14. And we get 14 quarters. So what we can do is double check by doing values. So 7 dimes, I'm going to do this over here in green for money. 7 dimes is 70 cents. If I have 21 nickels, that's going to be $1.05. If I have 14 quarters, well, 4 quarters at a time make $1. So 4 goes into 14 4 times, so it's $4. And there'd be 2 quarters left over. Oops, I did something wrong again. Oh, perhaps if I use the right number. Oh my goodness. Perhaps I should go to bed. Let's try those again, shall we? Oops. Alright, so remember back here where I said 10 plus 4? Well, D wasn't 10, was it? D was 7. So instead of getting 14, I should be getting 11. So let's try that again, shall we? Thank you. So 11 quarters, 4 quarters make $1. So we've got 4 can go into 11 twice. So there's $2, and that's 8 with 3 left over, and 3 quarters is 75 cents. So we add up 15, and that's what we're supposed to be getting as opposed to what I was doing before. All right, I'm going to set this one up so you can watch it, and I'm going to take a break. All right, good luck.